Today on the channel, we're going to check out this cordless, rechargeable, robotic pool cleaner right after this. So how good is this dirt cheap? And I mean dirt cheap, this is under $250, but actually $240 ship free from within the USA, so no tariff concerns from AliExpress. I've been in the market for a replacement pool cleaner. You can see my Nautilus sitting over here, it's a Dolphin. It's fine, it still works, so I call it reliable, but the cord is starting to fall apart on it. It's starting to crumble from just the years of being exposed to chlorine in the water. It's also the filter housing starting to fall apart, and the filter media needs to be replaced. I paid probably $500 to $600 for that about 12 years ago, so it's kind of on its last leg. And in 2025, I don't really want to have a corded pool cleaner anymore. And one of the main reasons why the corded ones, even though you don't have to worry about recharging them, is whenever the cord's draped across the pool, anything that's going to be floating into your skimmer, like leaves or bugs, are going to get jammed up behind that floating cable, and it can't make it into the skimmer. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like the corded design anymore in 2025. But I don't want to spend a lot of money. These robots can be very expensive from the name brands like Polaris and Nautilus like this. In fact, I have a Polaris robot that I picked up from a lady for 15 bucks because she said it quit working. I have not been able to look to see if I can fix it. I paid $15 for it. She said she paid $1,700 for it 4 years ago, and it doesn't even clean the walls. That is insane. This robot here, though, could be a game changer. This thing is very inexpensive, as I mentioned, and it cleans the walls, the floor, and the water line. So it would go along the edge of the water. If you have like a ring or something on your wall you want removed, it would just scrub along that if you wish. And all that is controlled by this dial. So first you would turn the robot on just with a quick press of the power button, and this dial will light up blue. And then you can just rotate this between the different modes that you want. So I like to run mine in the all mode, so it'll clean all three different modes in one cleaning. Now, if you just have a bunch of junk on the bottom, you just do the bottom. So since I just cleaned the walls, if I clean next time, I probably just clean on the bottom using this. Now it has two contacts here in the front, and this makes contact with the water, and then it knows it's underwater, and then the robot will start operating. So right now, that's why the robot's not driving away from me. It has to sense that it's actually in the water. Then you have your charging port over here. You just unscrew this and take it off, and then you just plug in the charger, and it takes less than 3 hours to charge up the robot. So you do have to charge it, every time you run it, because it has a runtime of approximately 300 minutes. It has over a 10,000 milliamp battery in here. So it's probably, 5 hours of runtime, they say. So it will just kind of run, I believe, until it just goes dead, and then it'll turn red. And then you can pull the robot out using the provided hook, which I'll show you later on in the video. There's a hook that comes with this that you just attach to the front here on your pole, and you can pull it out of the water, or you can just grab it out if it's still running as it climbs up the wall. Now, as it drives around the pool, it of course picks up debris from the bottom. And we'll take a look at the bottom of the robot here. And all these little rubber pieces just move around, and everything gets worked towards the back. And then the suction motor of the two fans here that suck the water upwards pulls debris through this bottom into the filter media housing here. So you just pop this open, and you have this little white filter enclosure. Really nice, and it did an excellent job of pulling stuff in. So you just pop this open, and this is where your debris will go and be trapped in here. And really easy also to clean this out. So that's a really cool design, and one nice thing is rather large is you can pick up rather large pieces of debris, little pieces of whatever falls in the bottom. In fact, some of the pieces, as you'll see later at the end of the video, some pieces of some snorkels and stuff got pulled into here, and they weren't damaged or anything, but I was able to retrieve them out of here. My Nautilus will only pick up really small debris, so it just will drive over stuff. It won't pick up anything in the pool that's even remotely large. This will. And I like that. They'll pull it up in here. So if there's something on the bottom that you want to get off the bottom, then this thing will also pick it up. Let's take a look now and after I drop it in the pool, you can see it drive around. So let's get some of that footage now. Okay, so I just dropped the robot in. You can see it coming here towards me. When you drop it in, it takes it a moment, and then the fans will fire up. Once it senses that those two little metal contacts, senses that it's in the water. I started right around here, and it's driven forward. And now it drove over to this wall, and then it's coming back now, and here it is. And I have it in the all mode, so it's going to clean the bottom, or the floor, the sides, and then it's going to clean, I believe that, it's also cleaning the water line. You can see now, I believe it's going to see, will it turn around? Let's see what it does here. Oh, it's going to come back up again. Well, I tell you, this is going to be really nice if this thing works like I hope it does, because it's just so inexpensive compared to these robots from the name brands. They don't even do as much as this one. Now you can see it's turning around. It should drive off the other direction now. Yeah, this is really neat. So we're going to let it go and let it go till it's finished or the battery's low. We'll pull it out and see what's in the bucket, the skimmer, or the catch basket, I should say. Now I did just use my Dolphin, which is right back here. I used that one yesterday, so it got a lot of the junk. It does clean the walls as well. And, it got a lot of the stuff out of here. So there shouldn't be too much dirt or junk or bugs in the pool. So if it doesn't have a lot in it, that's just because the pool's not very dirty. But there's going to be stuff, stuff's constantly falling in the pool. And there'll be things that the Nautilus missed because it just randomly drives around. And it's almost always getting itself caught on my drains. So we'll have to see. I'm curious if this robot will drive over the drains or if it will get topped out like the Nautilus. Probably it'll get stuck. If it doesn't, that's going to make this robot even better, because I would tend to have the Nautilus get stuck an hour or two later, forget about it, and it's not driven anywhere, just sitting there spinning on top of the drain. And then I have to run it for another 3 hours to get the whole pool clean and constantly remember to check on it. So you can see I love how it turns around. It doesn't just drive in reverse like the Nautilus would go up and then it'll just kick its motors in and drive the opposite direction. This one has a specific direction that it has to go. Now we can see it's coming back in that V shape. So it's going in that zigzag motion. Yeah, we'll check back later and let's see. May even be tomorrow, so we have better lighting to show you guys what's in the basket and give you my thoughts on how well I think it performs. So we'll be right back. All right, quick update. It's been going for a little while, and I ended up moving it down here because I kind of wanted to start at one end, and it was kind of just going back and forth in kind of one spot over there. But I wanted to kind of have it start at the very end so it can go all the way down the pool. Now the problem is my drains. It doesn't always get stuck on it, but it does. Not as much as my old robot, but when it does, if you end up pushing it off with like a pole, the robot can get turned and then it takes off and goes a direction that you didn't want it to, a direction it wasn't originally going. So instead of going to zigzag, you may push it off and then it may take off and go this way, and then so it's just a matter at this point seeing will it cover the whole pool. And I never really paid close attention to the Nautilus Dolphin because I just let it go. So I know it missed spots. So you can see here, it made it across the drain. It gets stuck on this one more often than that one. You can see how it's kind of like ends up, because of the drain, it kind of veered off a little more to the side. But I did see it suck up some debris and an insect off the bottom a while ago, so it seems to be functioning really well. You can see the pool is already very clean from the Dolphin, but we'll let it go now until it's finished, and then pull it out, and then probably do a conclusion to the video and an update tomorrow to let you guys just see, how much stuff did the robot pick up. All right, one more quick update. I felt like these updates are important as I watch the progress of the robot. It's come all the way over here to the shallow end, and it did climb up my steps. I was going to try to capture video of that because my Nautilus won't do that, and that's not that common for a robot to climb the steps. But as it comes up to the third step up, it turned itself off. And the reason why that being is the little metal contacts that detects when it's in the water, one of the contacts was out of the water, so it turned itself off, which is functioning as it should. just keep in mind that if it starts cleaning the steps, it's going to probably do that to almost anybody. As it gets to the top step, the contacts are going to come out of the water. So keep your eye on it. That's why I'm going to start it on one end and have it go this way. But there's a chance at some point it's going to come up to your steps, and at that point it's probably going to turn itself off. So as with any pool robot, you got to monitor them throughout the time to make sure they're either not stuck or they don't do something like this. They're not foolproof. For me though, if this is all I got to deal with is it turning itself off on the outside the step, I can deal with that for $240, considering that you're going to probably pay $1,000 or more for a name brand. You could probably pay $1,000 more than this. I don't think you can get a good one like this for under $1,200 from a name brand. So let's go ahead and let it continue there, and we'll see what it does. Of course, it took off there, and now it's all the way down here. So my Nautilus tended to spend most of its time in the deep end, and didn't seem like it would make it way up here. So I'm not going to really complain, because the deep end is where the junk tends to settle anyway. So that's what I want it to be. I want it to get the deep end more than the shallow. All right, now there should be enough on the updates, and we'll get to the conclusion here and let you see what it picked up and give you my final thoughts on the robot. All right, so I pulled the robot out yesterday evening. Of course, it was pretty dark, so I waited till today to film. So we do have some debris that is in the trap filter inside of here. Again, my pool was really clean at the time, so there's not a lot of stuff in here. But let's go ahead and I'll open it up and show you what it looks like. And that's what we got in there. In fact, there's actually a piece of a snorkel and some rubber pieces that actually got caught inside. Now it really stinks because it's been sitting out here in the heat all day. But there's a bunch of the junk that got caught in there. So we got this snorkel piece, and actually two pieces. There's actually three pieces in here. And then a bunch of just really fine debris I'll wash out here with the hose in just a moment. Now to get the robot out of the pool, and I took it out while it was still running. I guess it just runs until it goes low battery, because it doesn't really tell you how long it will run. Some robots will run for a couple hours. This one supposedly has a 300-minute battery life, so that's going to be, what, 5 hours? I don't know if it's going to run that long, and you probably don't need it to run that long. But anyway, you have this hook, obviously, that you put on the end of your pole, and you just attach it onto the front handle. And it's really easy to pull it out of the water. You can also just grab it by the handle with your hand as it's climbing the wall if it's still running. So overall, I'm pretty happy with everything that it caught in this filter. I think it did a really good job. So in conclusion, I think this is actually a really fantastic cordless robotic pool cleaner. You can't really find a robot for this price, even remotely close to it, especially from the name brands. It did a really good job of cleaning the pool. It does drive in a pattern that is preset, though it doesn't always do a great job of that. So do keep in mind that it will sometimes get off its path, especially if it gets caught on like your drains like we have in our pool. It doesn't always get caught. My Dolphin gets caught all the time. This one, maybe 50% of the time it will get caught, especially on my left drain. So do keep that in mind. And then if you push it off of the drain, it may get all out of whack in its pattern. But aside from that, it did a good job of cleaning. It's very good at climbing the walls. Had no problems. Of course, it's quiet. It's underwater. You're not going to hear it anyway. And it's a premium build quality. I'm just surprised at the weight and just the overall build quality on something that's basically kind of a no-name robot cleaner. So if you're interested in picking this up, there'll be a purchase link down in the video description to AliExpress. It ships from a US warehouse, so there's no concerns if you're in the United States about paying tariffs on this right now, because it does ship from within the United States. And overall, I think it's a really fantastic robot. You're not going to find anything even close to this in terms of price and performance that is also cordless. So I think that wraps up this video. I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like tech stuff, RC, drones, even sometimes real car stuff, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. Click the bell, that way you're notified when I upload new videos. And as always, guys, have an awesome day.